What is up, everybody? This is NerdingOutSports, and today the first of what could be many moves this trade season. Markus Golden on the move to the Arizona Cardinals for a 6th-round pick, and I can't complain. I kind of saw this coming. I didn't think they were going to make a move as quickly as they did. Not even 24 hours after the start time of the game last night, they're already making trades, or at least one. And I was going to make a video about potential trade pieces for the Giants. And Golden was going to be one of those players. So I guess what I'll do now is just kind of talk about the rest. Offensively, Evan Ingram, we all know he's a trade piece. You have to try to move on from him. Get what you can. Not much more has to be said on that situation, that topic right there. He just hasn't been good. And you have to get what you can for him at this point, and hopefully they can get something decent, and hopefully he goes elsewhere and plays better. You know, that's all we can really ask for. As the Giants move on, they get whatever they can and be done with it. Kevin Zeitler, though, I think he's the one that has the most value, aside from Evan Ingram, because he is the best lineman on a bad offensive line. I get that if you trade him, the offensive line only gets worse. But at some point, you have to see what you have in Shane Lemieux. And I would hope that after the trade deadline, we have all three of Andrew Thomas, Matt Parrott, and Shane Lemieux starting. We have to see what we have in them. We have to know if we can go into next season with those three guys starting on the offensive line. And Kevin Zeitler is more than likely going to be cut next year anyway, because they would save a lot of money. His cap hit, they would save a lot of money for the cap space if they were to cut him. So I think you have to trade him and get whatever you can for him. And the same goes for Golden Tate. Golden Tate has a potential out after this year, and they would only have about $4 million in dead cap, so he's a very tradable piece. And much like Markus Golden, you'd probably have to settle for like a 5th or a 6th round pick, which I think is fine. You know, I like Golden Tate, but let's be honest, he hasn't really done too much this year. So you have to take what you can get. And I think that's one thing the Giants are finally starting to do, and it starts with this Golden trade, is you move players and get whatever you can for these guys. They did it a few years ago when they traded Harrison and Eli Apple. But they didn't do it with Landon Collins, and they didn't do it last year with Janoris Jenkins. So you have to trade your valuable pieces and get whatever you can back. On the defensive side of the ball, it's Dalvin Tomlinson or Leonard Williams. Maybe even both. The only reason I say Tomlinson, even though I would love for the Giants to keep him for the long haul, is because they have not done that in the past with defensive tackles. Think about Barry Cofield. Think about Jonathan Hankins, Linval Joseph. They've let those guys walk in free agency each time. And I don't think they would make an exception for Dalvin Tomlinson because they have Dexter Lawrence on the roster. They have B.J. Hill. Austin Johnson's played pretty well. So they have guys that can kind of fill in that role, as good as Dalvin Tomlinson has been since they got him. I would love for them to keep him. And I would hope they can and re-sign him. Now, Leonard Williams is the guy that has definitely exceeded expectations thus far. He's been great. Much better than what he was playing as last year when the Giants traded a 3rd-round pick for him. I'm not saying they can get a 3rd-round pick back because the contract is much more difficult to trade now than it was a year ago when the Jets dealt him to us. But if you can get maybe a 4th, then that wouldn't be too bad. But again, the contract is what could make Tomlinson a much more tradable piece, but you probably won't get as much in return for a true nose tackle than you would for a guy like Leonard Williams, who has shown he definitely can get to the quarterback this year. Even though Tomlinson has been pretty good at that, kind of sneakily underrated at getting to the quarterback the last couple of years. And that's really it. The Giants don't have a ton of tradable pieces. They're not going to trade a guy like Dexter Lawrence. They're not trading James Bradberry. They're probably not going to trade Jabril Peppers, although I could potentially see that happening. The only other player I can maybe see getting dealt is Logan Ryan, because much like Golden, they got him for virtually nothing. They got him late in the offseason, and he's a free agent at the end of the year. So maybe you get something for him as well, because he, along with Bradbury, have been the only two guys that have been consistently good in this secondary. Peppers has kind of been up and down. Julian Love finally had a good game last night. Ryan Lewis is hit or miss, and we know that Isaac Yiadom, Corey Ballantyne have been flat out bad. Hopefully Darnay Holmes comes back, because he's been pretty good out there. I would like them to hold on to Logan Ryan, though. But again, if you can get something of value for him, you have to do it, because you signed him for nothing. And instead of letting him walk and getting nothing in return, if someone offers you maybe a fourth or a fifth, then you probably have to take it. So that's really it. This is not a very good roster. You don't have a ton of tradable pieces. So you have to take the guys that you can move for something, for any sort of value, and get what you can. And those are the only players I can really think of. Like I said, I'm still kind of on the fence about Peppers. I can see them doing it, but at the same time, I can see them being like, we want to keep him and McKinney together for the long haul. So we'll see what happens there. Obviously, there's still plenty of time between now and November 3rd, so a lot can happen. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. Who do you think the Giants are going to trade next, if anybody? Do you think that's the only trade they make? What do you think they can get in return for a guy like Ingram or Zeitler and any of the names I mentioned? And like I said, give me some suggestions on your end. If you think there's anybody that I missed that can be traded, let me know. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for listening. I will see you guys next time. Let's go Giants. Peace out.